Kamala Harris realizes she has a black voter problem. I think it's funny because the Democrat Party itself is in an uproar. They don't know what to do now that so many black folk are leaving the Democratic plantation. They're saying you can no longer just automatically get our votes. What are you going to give us? And they don't know what to do. You know, black folk been voting Democrat for almost 100 years and not gotten a single thing out of it. And people are fed up. And that's why you got the Boule blacks coming out like Ricky Smiley crying on the radio. And, and then you got Uncle Luke coming out for Harris and chastising black folk. And you got, what's his name? Steve Harvey coming out. You got all these the bourgeoisie coming out condemning black folk for saying we need a transaction for our vote. We need something out of our vote. At least if we vote for if we vote Trump, we know we're going to get something out of it. What are the Democrats bringing to the table? And they're saying absolutely nothing, because the Democrats never had to work for the vote. They knew they were going to get 80, 90 something percent of the vote. So if you know you're going to automatically get someone vote, why do you need to cater to them? Why you need to give in to them if you're going to get their vote no matter what? And Kamala Harris, a lot of people don't believe Kamala Harris is black, like myself, even because her father even said himself that he was Irish and Indian, not black. But now all of a sudden the Camilla is deciding to change and say that she's black all of a sudden to try to get black folk vote. And she's coming off as fake and inauthentic, and black folks see right through that. We know something fake when we see it. That's why when Ricky Smiley's on the radio crying, it doesn't sway anyone. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. It has a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. Also, there's a link to my X account. Follow me there where I put news and stuff throughout the day there as well. All right, so let's talk about this news now. This comes from Red State's Jeff Charles. Shout out Jeff Charles. And he reports that Vice President Kamala Harris's team seem to understand that she and her fellow Democrats have a problem with black voters, and they're trying to do something about it. Harris recently made appearances in black media and did a promotional video with her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, in Detroit, Michigan. While the topic wasn't focused solely on the black community, it was clear that they were making an effort to appeal to the demographic amid months of polling showing that a significant chunk of African Americans are souring on the Democrat Party. The Harris-Walz campaign released a video on Thursday featuring the two running mates at Aretha's Jazz Cafe in Detroit, named for soul singer Aretha Franklin, in which they sat down for a 10-minute conversation discussing their backgrounds, careers, and desires for the nation. The campaign filmed the conversation shortly after Harris announced Walz as her choice for vice president. Much of the discussion was lighthearted, focusing on music and food. At points, the two politicians discussed their campaign, with the vice president saying, quote, "Our campaign is the underdog campaign." The two candidates highlighted aspects of their careers, with Harris recounting how she wanted to become a prosecutor after finding out that one of her friends was being molested by her stepfather. Quote, "I told her, you have to come live with us. I called my mom. I have to tell you, Tim, it was the first time that I realized how not everyone can take their safety for granted," Harris said. "We should all feel a sense of responsibility to protect people from harm. So that's why I decided I wanted to be a prosecutor." Yeah, and lock up innocent black men. You know, we all seen the interview from True Love, and how you cackled at him after you locked him up, knowing that this man was innocent. But the conversation turned to music, with Harris talking about how her parents loved Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, and Prince. Walz was more of a Bob Seger and Bruce Springsteen's guy. Perhaps he didn't get the "we need the black voters" memo. Otherwise, he might have gone with Marvin Gaye and James Brown. The vice president also discussed her upbringing and being exposed to the fight for civil rights. Quote, I grew up around a bunch of people that were marching and shouting for justice. They understood how to translate the passion from the streets to the courtrooms of our country, she said. It's hard to miss what the Harris Waltz campaign is doing here. They taped the conversation in a cafe named after a black icon. They discuss how much Harris supposedly loves Motown. Harris once again touted her so-called exposure to the civil rights movement. This was an effort to connect with black voters and white folks who would like to see themselves as allies. Harris also participated in an interview with Essence Magazine, another black media outlet, in July. And I can't believe Essence is still around, man. The vice president discussed some of the same topics, especially the civil rights movement. Quote, I grew up in a community where an extended family of people told all of us as children that we are young, gifted, and black. So hold on. She grew up in an Indian family. Do you really believe her Indian family went around saying that she was black? Come on, man. She is so fake that we could do anything. That there was no boundary or border to what we could pursue or believe, and that we have a duty, Harris said. Part of the interview focused on black women, particularly when it comes to maternal health, abortion, and empowerment. Notice how they never talk about black men. Quote, the idea that these so-called leaders would be passing laws that make no exception for rape and incest, that's immoral, and that's what's happening in the country right now, Harris said. Now, we all know that that's not true. We know rape and incest is not actually, it's not really, abortion is really considered a medical procedure when it's rape and incest. She's being disingenuous. But the vice president lamented the black women, quote, the vice president lamented that black women, quote, have some of the highest rates of black maternity mortality. Harris addressed black women directly, saying they, quote, have extraordinary power, and that they should, quote, never let anybody take our power from us and never be shy of that power. Now, notice that whole entire conversation. She never talked about policy. The only thing she really talked about is abortion. Never really said anything about policy or anything that she would do to help black people. We all know that Trump had this platinum plan. We all know that Trump did prison reform. We all know that Trump had opportunity zones to help black people. She has nothing tangible for black people. All she has is platitudes and things like that. Never really have any concrete ideas that could help our community. That's because they don't need to do anything to help our community, because they believe that they're going to get the majority of our votes anyway. So they don't have to do anything. They don't have to give any transaction for our votes. The Harris's candidacy is clearly a way for Democrats to win back at least some disillusioned black voters. The findings of a Reuters Ipsos poll released on August 7th showed the vice president polling better against Trump than President Joe Biden did when he was the candidate. However, it is still significantly lower than what it would normally be for a Democratic candidate. Some 70% of black voters polling in July picked Harris over Trump on a hypothetical ballot, up from 59% who backed Biden in May and June polls. Trump's share of the black vote rose marginally to 12% in July from 9% in May and June. As a Democrat, Harris should be at least 90%, should be at about 90% support among black voters. And the fact that she isn't is telling. Yeah, because normally because Obama got like 90 something percent. And so did what's his name? Bill Clinton. But the fact of the matter is, as California's Attorney General, Harris presided over the incarceration of black men over nonviolent offenses. She even fought to keep them locked up. Hence, she never really talked anything about black men. She only talked about black women and reproduction. That's all she has. Another issue Democrats and their cohorts in the activist media would rather ignore is that many black Americans don't quite view Harris as one of them, because she's not. She's Indian. I don't care how much the mainstream media, I don't care how much the Ricky Smileys and the Charlemagne the Gods try to give her a street cred and stuff like that and pretend like she's black. We all know she's not black. I'm sorry, she's not. They question whether she truly understands the experience of black folks in America. There is also the fact that during the 2020 campaign, Harris, during an interview with the Griot, said she would not have any policies specifically to help black people. We all seen that clip. Let me go ahead and play that clip here. Sorry, I'm gonna grab my headphones. I didn't think I was gonna play any clips here, but let's go ahead and play this clip. All right, here we go.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But so I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm gonna do something that's only gonna benefit black people. No.
See, she has absolutely no policies for black people, but yet she wants to vote. What are you gonna give us in return? Dr. Umar Johnson said, I don't agree with Dr. Umar Johnson on a lot of things. But when it comes to this, when it comes to Kamala Harris, he is 1,000% correct when he says that a vote is supposed to be transactional. You don't automatically get my vote because I'm black. What are you going to give me for that vote? While Harris performs better with black voters than Biden, it seems clear she still has much work to do in reaching that demographic. This is why she is currently making these overtures. Unfortunately for her, she has not only her baggage to contend with, but also the Democrat Party's history of pandering and broken promises. All you got to do is ask a black person, can you give me one thing that Democrats have done to advance black people? Give me one thing. Just ask them that. And they can't, because they haven't done anything. There's also the reality that many black voters have grown fed up with the constant broken promises coming from Democratic politicians. It is a frustration that will likely cause a portion of black Americans to either stay home on election day or give Trump a chance. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Do you think Kamala Harris can get the black vote back up to 90% for Democrats? Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.